Stop chasing her. Stop texting her. Stop thinking about her. If you want a woman to miss you, the first thing you need to understand is this. Desperation is repellent. Most men sabotage themselves because they think constant attention is the way to win a woman's affection. But let me tell you something. Women don't miss what's always there. They crave what feels scarce, what feels valuable, and most importantly, what feels like it could slip away. This isn't just about playing games. This is about understanding human nature. Women are wired to value what they perceive as high status. When a man is always available, always eager, always at her beck and call, he lowers his perceived value. He becomes predictable. Worse, he becomes forgettable. You've probably heard the saying, absence makes the heart grow fonder. It's not a cliché. It's psychology. When you step back, you create space for her to feel your absence, and that absence sparks desire. But here's the controversial truth. Most men don't have the patience or the discipline to pull this off. They fear losing her. They think silence will push her away. But the reality is, silence often does the opposite. It makes her curious, it makes her wonder, it forces her to question why you're no longer chasing her. And that's when she starts to miss you. Stoicism teaches us the power of self-control and emotional detachment. When you stop obsessing over her and focus on your own growth and purpose, you don't just appear stronger, you become stronger. This shift is magnetic. A woman can sense when a man is grounded in himself, and nothing is more attractive than a man who doesn't need her, but chooses her. So, if you're ready to stop begging for her attention and start commanding it, this video is for you. I'm going to break down 10 actionable ways to make her miss you using the timeless wisdom of Stoicism and the undeniable truths of attraction. But remember, this isn't about manipulation. It's about transformation. 1. Stop responding to every message. One of the most common mistakes men make is responding to every message a woman sends. Instantly, without fail. It may seem polite or even the right thing to do. But in reality, it's one of the fastest ways to lose her interest. Why? Because constant availability kills attraction. When you respond to every message immediately, you communicate one thing. You have nothing else going on in your life. And nothing is less attractive than a man who seems desperate for her attention. Women are drawn to mystery and value. If you're always there, always replying within seconds, you erase any sense of wonder. She doesn't have to think about you because you're already giving her all your energy. You leave no room for her to miss you. When you pause, delay, or even skip responding sometimes, you shift the dynamic. Suddenly, she starts wondering what's occupying your time. Is it work? A hobby? Maybe even someone else? That curiosity is where attraction thrives. Here's the key. You're not playing games. You're creating balance. Stoicism teaches self-restraint, and this is a perfect application. You don't need to ignore her completely. Instead, you respond when it suits you, when you're free, when you've finished your priorities. This shows that your time is valuable, that you're not waiting around for her, and that your life is full with or without her. Let's put this into perspective. Imagine you're texting her one evening. She sends you a message asking how your day was. Instead of dropping everything to reply immediately, you put your phone down and continue with whatever you were doing, whether it's reading, working out, or even just relaxing. You reply an hour or two later, casually saying, "Busy day, but it's been good. How about you?" That's it. You didn't ignore her, but you also didn't prioritize her over your own life. What happens next? She starts to notice your boundaries. She realizes you're not like other men who fall over themselves to reply right away. That small act of restraint makes her respect you more. She begins to crave your attention because you've shown her that you won't give it away so easily. In relationships and attraction, less is often more. By not responding to every message instantly, You create the space needed for her to appreciate your presence. 2. Silence speaks louder than words. Most men think they need to talk their way into a woman's heart, explaining, convincing, or constantly reassuring her of their feelings. But the truth is, silence often has more impact than words ever could. When you remain silent in moments of uncertainty or tension, you display a level of self-control and confidence that words can't convey. Women notice this because silence is powerful. It forces her to reflect and pay attention. Think about it. When you talk too much, you dilute your message. If you're constantly explaining yourself, apologizing, or trying to prove your worth, it can come off as weak or insecure. Silence, on the other hand, is a demonstration of strength. It says, I don't need to fill the space with words to be heard. A man who knows when to stay silent is a man who commands respect. This doesn't mean giving her the cold shoulder or stonewalling her. Silence works best when it's deliberate and intentional. For instance, if she says something that frustrates you or tries to provoke a reaction, instead of snapping back or overreacting, simply pause. Take a breath and let her words hang in the air. The absence of your response will often make her think twice about what she said. Here's an example. Imagine you've been on a few dates, and she suddenly starts being distant. Instead of bombarding her with questions like, "Are you okay? Did I do something wrong?" you step back and say nothing. You don't send a follow-up text. You don't ask for explanations. You just let the silence do its work. What happens next? She starts to feel the weight of your absence. She wonders why you're not chasing her like everyone else. Silence isn't about ignoring her. It's about giving her room to reflect. This approach aligns with Stoic principles, remaining calm and measured, even when emotions are high. Silence shows her that you're not reactive, that you're in control of your emotions and actions. The next time you're tempted to fill the void with unnecessary words, resist the urge. Let her wonder. Let her miss the sound of your voice. Silence can be uncomfortable, but in that discomfort lies its power. When used wisely, it makes her realize just how much she values your presence. 3. Be unavailable. On purpose. One of the greatest mistakes men make is always being available. You drop everything when she calls, cancel plans to accommodate her schedule, or rearrange your day just to please her. While this might seem like the right thing to do, it sends the wrong message. It shows that she can have you whenever she wants, without effort. And let's face it, people rarely value what comes too easily. When you're constantly available, you make her presence in your life predictable. There's no excitement, no challenge, no reason for her to wonder if she's important to you because she knows she already has your undivided attention. This lack of mystery can quickly turn into boredom, and that's where many men lose their edge. Being unavailable on purpose isn't about playing games or pretending to be busy. It's about genuinely having a life of your own, filled with purpose, goals, and priorities. When you show her that your time is valuable and that you're not always at her disposal, she begins to respect and admire you more. Why? Because a man with a full life is a man worth pursuing. Think about it. Have you ever noticed how much more attractive someone becomes when they seem hard to get? It's not because they're unattainable. It's because they have something going on that makes their time scarce and precious. When you're unavailable on purpose, you create that same effect. You make her feel like spending time with you is a privilege, not a given. This doesn't mean ghosting her or ignoring her completely. It's about balancing your availability in a way that keeps her intrigued. Instead of rushing to answer her calls or texts, take your time. Instead of dropping everything to meet her, stick to your original plans and let her know you'll see her when it works for you. Women are naturally drawn to men who exude independence. When you're unavailable on purpose, you show her that your world doesn't revolve around her. And paradoxically, that's when she starts wanting to be a bigger part of it. Being unavailable makes her wonder what you're doing, who you're with, and why she's not getting all of your attention. In relationships, scarcity creates value. By being unavailable on purpose, you show her that your time and energy are things she must earn, and that makes all the difference. 4. Focus on your goals, not her. Too many men lose themselves in the pursuit of a woman, prioritizing her over everything else in their lives. They abandon their dreams, hobbies, and ambitions just to make her happy, thinking this will win her over. But here's the harsh truth. The more you make her the center of your world, the more she loses respect for you. Women aren't drawn to men who revolve their lives around them. They're drawn to men who have purpose, vision, and drive. If you're spending all your time trying to impress her, you're neglecting the one thing that truly makes you attractive: your goals. A man with focus and ambition commands respect. He shows that he has a direction in life and isn't dependent on anyone for validation. On the other hand, a man who prioritizes her over his dreams looks weak and aimless. That's not harsh. It's the reality. Ask yourself this: are you chasing your goals, or are you chasing her? If your answer is the latter, it's time to wake up. Women respect a man who respects himself enough to stay committed to his purpose. If you've been neglecting your goals, putting off your ambitions, or sacrificing your growth for her, you're doing both of you a disservice. Think about the kind of men women admire, those who are successful, confident, and passionate about what they do. These men don't spend their days glued to their phones, obsessing over whether she replied to their text. They're too busy building something meaningful, and that's precisely why women want to be part of their lives. Here's the advice: get your priorities straight. Focus on your career, your fitness, your personal development. Invest your time in becoming the best version of yourself. When you're chasing your goals, you radiate a different kind of energy, an energy that's irresistible. You don't need to constantly prove your worth to her because your actions and achievements speak for themselves. Stop wasting time trying to win her over with endless attention and effort. Instead, put that energy into your purpose. The right woman will respect and admire you for it. And if she doesn't, that's a sign she was never the one for you. A man with a clear focus on his goals doesn't beg for attention. He attracts it naturally. So, stop putting her on a pedestal. Start building a life that makes her want to stand beside you. That's how you win. 5. Master the art of leaving. First, men often cling too tightly to relationships, conversations, or interactions, hoping to hold on to a woman's attention. They think staying longer, texting more, or lingering in her presence will somehow strengthen the bond. But here's a truth many men overlook. Knowing when to leave is more powerful than knowing how to stay. Leaving first, whether it's from a conversation, a date, or even a relationship, leaves a lasting impression of confidence and control. Why does leaving first matter? Because it shows that you value your time and are not afraid to walk away. Women are instinctively drawn to men who don't overstay their welcome, who know how to exit gracefully, leaving her wanting more. On the flip side, if you're always the one waiting for her to call it a night, end the conversation, or decide when things are over, you come across as overly eager and dependent. Leaving first doesn't mean ghosting or being rude. It's about asserting your boundaries and showing you're a man with other priorities. For example, when you're on a date, don't let the evening drag on endlessly. End it on a high note before the energy dips. By doing so, you leave her with a sense of excitement and anticipation for the next time. This applies even more to situations where things are uncertain or rocky. If you feel like she's pulling away or showing less interest, don't stick around trying to fix things or begging for her attention. Leave first. Walk away with your dignity intact, and let her experience what life feels like without you in it. That space you create forces her to reflect on your value. The problem is, many men are afraid of leaving first. They think it's a sign of weakness or that they're giving up. But it's the exact opposite. Leaving first requires strength. It shows you're not afraid to be alone, that you're confident enough to prioritize yourself. This is a quality that commands respect. When you master the art of leaving first, you shift the dynamic in your favor. You stop being the one who's chasing and start being the one who's missed. It's not about manipulation, it's about self-respect. Remember, a man who knows when to leave is a man who's always remembered. 6. Control your emotions. Control the game. One of the biggest mistakes men make is letting their emotions get the best of them. Whether it's frustration, jealousy, or desperation, showing these emotions openly can quickly ruin your chances of maintaining respect and attraction. Women are highly perceptive, and the moment they sense emotional instability, they begin to question your strength. A man who cannot control his emotions cannot control the game. Think about it. When you overreact, constantly seek reassurance, or let her actions dictate your mood, you give away your power. You're no longer leading the dynamic, you're reacting to it. This makes you seem weak, insecure, and easy to manipulate. On the other hand, when you stay calm and composed, regardless of the situation, you send a message of confidence and stability. Emotional control is not about suppressing how you feel. It's about choosing how you respond. It's okay to feel hurt or annoyed, but reacting impulsively only adds fuel to the fire. For example, if she cancels plans at the last minute, don't lash out or sulk. Instead, respond with a simple, "No worries," and move on with your day. This shows that your happiness doesn't hinge on her actions. Imagine you're in a heated conversation with her. She's testing your patience, trying to provoke a reaction. Most men would snap, raise their voice, or say something they regret. But if you stay calm, listen, and respond thoughtfully, or even choose silence when needed, you not only diffuse the situation, but also maintain your position of strength. Women respect men who can navigate emotional turbulence with grace. They feel safer and more attracted to someone who remains steady in the face of chaos. Conversely, a man who loses his temper or crumbles under pressure sends a clear signal that he can't handle himself, let alone a relationship. Mastering emotional control isn't just about relationships. It's about every aspect of life. A man who can keep his emotions in check commands respect in work, friendships, and social settings. It's a skill that separates leaders from followers. So, the next time you feel like reacting impulsively, pause. Take a deep breath and remind yourself that control lies in your hands. When you control your emotions, you control the game. And when you control the game, you hold the power. 7. Let mystery do the talking. One of the most attractive traits a man can have is the ability to remain mysterious. Too often, men feel the need to over-explain themselves, overshare their feelings, or constantly update a woman on their thoughts and actions. But here's the truth. Mystery captivates. The less she knows, the more she wants to find out. When you're an open book, you leave nothing for her imagination to fill. You answer all her questions before she even asks them. And in doing so, you take away the excitement. Women thrive on curiosity. They are naturally drawn to things they can't fully understand or figure out. If you hand everything to her on a silver platter, you kill the chase. Being mysterious isn't about playing games or being intentionally aloof. It's about maintaining an air of intrigue. You don't have to tell her every detail about your day or explain every decision you make. Sometimes less is more. For instance, if she asks what you're up to and you respond with a casual, handling a few things, instead of a detailed breakdown, you leave her wondering. This approach doesn't mean being secretive to the point of pushing her away. It's about balancing openness with restraint. Share just enough to keep her engaged, but never so much that she feels like she knows everything about you. Keep her guessing about what you're thinking or what you're planning next. Mystery also involves living a life that doesn't revolve around her. When she sees that you have your own passions, goals, and interests, it makes her curious about the world you've built for yourself. It makes her want to be part of it. But if your every move is predictable, if she knows you're always available and waiting, the spark of intrigue dies out quickly. Ask yourself this: when was the last time she had to wonder about you? If the answer is never, then it's time to change that. Mystery isn't about manipulation. It's about creating an aura of excitement. It's about being the kind of man she can't quite figure out, the man who keeps her engaged because there's always more to discover. Let your actions, your silence, and your confidence speak louder than words. When mystery does the talking, you become unforgettable. 8. Stop over-explaining yourself. Let's be honest. Too many men fall into the trap of over-explaining themselves, especially when it comes to dealing with women. You find yourself constantly justifying your actions, explaining your intentions, or trying to clarify every little thing you do. But here's the thing. Women don't need all that information. And in fact, the more you explain yourself, the more you weaken your position. When you over-explain, you send a message that you're insecure or uncertain about your decisions. You start sounding like you're seeking validation instead of owning your actions. You might think you're being thorough, but in reality, you're overcompensating. This only creates unnecessary tension and makes you appear less confident. A confident man doesn't feel the need to justify everything he does. His actions speak for themselves, and he trusts that others will understand his intentions without needing a detailed explanation. This tendency to over-explain often comes from a fear of misunderstanding or rejection. You're worried she might misinterpret your words or actions, so you overcompensate by giving more information than necessary. But the truth is, most of the time, women appreciate a man who keeps things simple and straightforward. They don't need a deep dive into every thought you have or every reason behind your actions. They want to see strength and decisiveness in your words and behavior, not a constant back and forth of justifications. Over-explaining yourself is also a sign that you're trying too hard to please. If you're always explaining your every move, you're essentially asking for permission or approval, which isn't attractive. Instead of making yourself seem more appealing, you make yourself seem desperate for her approval. Women are drawn to men who are comfortable in their own skin, who don't feel the need to prove themselves at every turn. If you've been caught up in this habit, it's time to stop. Learn to say less and let your actions speak louder. Be clear, concise, and direct. Trust that the woman you're with will understand you without the need for endless explanations. The more you over-explain, the more you give away your power. When you stop over-explaining, you'll not only appear more confident, but you'll also start attracting the kind of respect you deserve. 9. Give her space. Gain her interest. It's time to wake up, guys. Constant attention does not equal attraction. Many men fall into the trap of thinking that by being available at all times, showering a woman with attention, and always being around, they'll build a deeper connection. But that's the opposite of what you should be doing. In fact, giving her space is one of the most powerful tools you can use to spark her interest and make her miss you. Here's the hard truth. Women don't want a man who's always hovering, always texting, or always available for them. It might feel like you're showing her affection, but in reality, you're suffocating the relationship. When you give her too much attention, you take away her need to chase, to wonder, to miss you. And when that happens, the excitement fades. She stops valuing your presence as much because it's no longer rare or special. On the flip side, when you give her space, you show that you have your own life. You're not constantly waiting around for her or trying to win her approval. This forces her to notice your absence and sparks her curiosity about what you're doing, who you're with, and why she's not on your mind 24/7. Space doesn't mean ignoring her, but it means not being overly available. It means living your life, having your own hobbies, passions, and goals that aren't directly tied to her. Men, you need to understand this. If you're always in her face, she'll take you for granted. She won't see you as a challenge, and without that challenge, the dynamic between you both becomes flat. When you give her room to miss you, she starts to value you more. It's simple human nature. People value what they don't always have access to. And let's be real, many of you need to wake up. Stop thinking that if you just give her more of your time, she'll fall deeper in love with you. Stop showing up at her door, texting her constantly, or responding within seconds to every message. You're making the mistake of thinking that availability equals love. But in reality, you're just showing her that you have nothing else going on in your life. Give her space. Live your life. Keep your independence. And let her come to you. The less you chase, the more she'll chase you. And that's how you gain her interest, not by being always available, but by showing that your life is full, complete, and thriving without her. 10. Reinforce your value by walking away. Let's face it, many men make the mistake of clinging to a woman who's not fully invested, hoping that by doing so, they'll eventually get the relationship they want. Here's the reality. Desperation never works. If you want to reinforce your value and make a woman realize what she could lose, sometimes the best thing you can do is walk away. Walking away isn't about playing games or being manipulative. It's about setting boundaries and showing that you respect yourself enough not to chase after someone who doesn't value you the way you deserve. When you stick around while she pulls away, you're sending the message that you don't have options, that you're willing to settle for less, and that you'll tolerate being treated poorly. You don't want to be that guy. When you walk away, you force her to face the reality that you're not waiting around for her to make up her mind. You show her that you have a life outside of her, and that your time and energy are precious. You're not going to invest in something that doesn't offer the same level of respect and commitment. This act of walking away is incredibly powerful because it shifts the power dynamic. Suddenly, you're not the one chasing, she is. Let's get one thing clear. Walking away isn't about leaving her forever. It's about knowing when to create distance, to let her feel the absence of your presence. It's about showing her that your value is not tied to her attention. It's a wake-up call that lets her know that if she wants to keep you, she needs to match your energy. If you're always available, always pursuing her, she'll never truly appreciate your worth. But when you walk away, even for a short period, you give her the space to reflect and realize how much you bring to the table. You reinforce the idea that you're a man with standards, someone who doesn't beg for affection. Walking away takes courage, and it's not easy. But it's necessary if you want to maintain your value. It's not about being cold or distant. It's about showing that you respect yourself too much to settle for anything less than you deserve. When you walk away, you prove that you're not desperate, and that's when you become truly irreplaceable. Here's the hard truth. If you're always chasing her, you're not the prize. She is. And that's exactly why she's not as invested as you think she should be. Men, it's time to wake up. Women don't respect desperation. They don't chase after men who fall at their feet or who are always available. If you want to be the man who commands respect, you need to start acting like you have options. Walk away when necessary, create mystery, and stop over-explaining yourself. It's time to stop being the man who's always in her face, always chasing approval, always giving in to her every whim. When you take a step back, when you stop trying so hard, you'll find that women will start chasing you. It's not about manipulation. It's about maintaining your dignity, valuing your own time, and showing that you're the kind of man who's worth chasing. Now, I want to hear from you. Have you been stuck in the cycle of always chasing? Have you tried any of these strategies? Drop a comment below and share your experiences. I'd love to connect with you and hear your thoughts. If you need advice, don't hesitate to reach out. I'm here to help, and together, we can make sure you stop chasing and start being the man women truly desire.